New Year's Eve. And I'm probably going to do a live stream later on today. So be looking out for that going into the new year. Shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson. Congratulations on 115,000. You know, we often everybody's getting kind of swept up in Kevin Samuels' growth, mediocre tutorial and reviews. Let me try to get this down because I don't want to hit y'all with that light. All right, mediocre tutorial and reviews. Some of the people that's on the smaller end of it, like Dennis Sperling, you know, even MOT. Like MOT has quietly got up to 20,000 subscribers, and people forget that. And MOT, he does, you know, great content, but he don't even like really grind out content like that. So that goes to show you the support. So there's a lot of growth going around in the manosphere. I'm definitely, you know, makes me want to step my game up and really get my growth going for the next year. So shout out to everybody in the growth because I think sometimes we don't really acknowledge everything because everybody's getting swept up in only certain channels. Now, with that being said, definitely want to get more and more channels over that 1,000 mark. So anyway, with that being said, you know, this was from a video of O'Shea D. Jackson when it came to you know, Drew Holiday on the fact that he gave $25 million to, you know, black businesses, black people, right? And pretty much you know, the conversation became about, you know, is he pro-black? Can he lead people? And let's be clear here, O'Shea basically did side on black people having a voice, and you have a voice irregardless of who you what situation you're in. Now he said you can't be a leader. He doesn't feel like you can be a leader. He doesn't think you can have a voice as far as crying on racism. But as far as like contributing and stuff like that, you have a voice, right? Now here's and I just want to give a little kind of response to that. Kind of it's more of an add-on because I agree with like mostly everything in the video. And it's not even that I necessarily disagree with being a leader because I think it's goofy personally that you would want to be a leader of the black community and not be with a black woman. And let's be clear here about that because I want to you know, shout out to Xanatos Clutch as well. It's not about it doesn't stop with it doesn't stop with just a black woman. If you're not with an ADOS black woman, you'll start to hear people talk that shit too. I remember when I pressed George Macon like maybe a year and a half ago about that. He basically said that, you know, really it should be an ADOS black woman. So it's sexual politicking as far as I'm concerned. And a couple of things. First of all, black men need to and this has nothing to do with O'Shea, but this is the video where I was listening to that inspired this. Black men need to stop indulging in the sexual politicking of black women. Their wombs, their insecurities based on their wombs is really not our concern. Our concern. It's funny how at the same time we're supposed to cater to their fragile egos and their overinflated egos, but at the same time we're supposed to do all of this building. The reality is men's job is to focus on building. Women need to you know, focus on getting their own shit together and being worth building for. That's really what it is. Because just because men build doesn't mean you're necessarily gonna reap the benefits of that. And that doesn't mean you deserve to. Um because men, you know, shout out to BGS talking about the lovables thing. He needs to do a whole series about black men being lovable, where black men, our what we contribute is basically how our values determine. This is why I talk about the economic currency and the sexual currency. And if you don't have currency, you shouldn't even be alive the way most of these women think. And yeah, it is most of them. They may not be like brazen about it, but they do really feel that way. And if you don't believe me, this is why black men are the majority homeless in the United States of America by count. Because of if you don't have utility, this is how this society feels about you, including your own community. Because it's not that women are more productive as to where they're less likely to be in the house. We all know that's true. But so there's that. Um, we got to stop indulging in the sexual politic in the women. Like, they need to compete. And they're not owed dick. They're not owed provision. Once you become an adult, it's one thing if we're talking about girls or we're talking about children. But if you're talking about if you're talking if you're talking about adult women, like once you become 18 or older, that's on you based on your decisions. And if you want to play whole games, you want to do all that. I mean, all that baggage, is it's just gonna rack up. It just is what it is. It's not about what people hope happens. It's just the law of what goes on. Now, going back to the actual pro-black leader thing, let's keep it real. Nobody wants to be the leader of the black community. That's not like it's not like the president of the United States. And even necessarily everybody don't even want to be president. That's not a position that you're going to see a lot of people campaigning for. This is why it's only typically certain people that are quote unquote leaders of the black community. Usually it has something to do with politics. It usually has to do with like religion. And even because they like what do you actually get? And this is something that I think pro-blacks in particular need to really ask this question. And if you can't answer this question, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm thinking of people like Dynas and stuff like that, even though I know they could definitely they could probably answer it, but you have a lot of people that when you actually ask the really hard questions, what they try to do is make it about you and saying you're wrong for even asking the question. Kind of like if you ask if prayer works, you're it's like you're wrong. You must not have enough faith to even ask that question. And that's just a way to scapegoat the fact that you don't know how to answer the question. Like seriously. And it's the same thing here. Like, what benefits do black men get from the black community as of right now? It doesn't matter why. They don't. The point is, what benefits do they get? And this is not me advertising for black men to wholesale leave, but we really need to be very honest about where we are and stop living in delusion. Living in, because men participate in delusion as well. Men like to look at things in a certain type of way. And this is why when black people always talk about, oh well, we keep it real. No, you don't. No, you don't. Black people are some of those fakest motherfuckers out there, and they hate keeping shit real. Like real talk. They really do. Whenever you get real on their ass, the emotions start to kick in. The allergic reactions start to kick in. And you can literally see it. I've done panels where you literally see the bullshit coming. You can literally feel it. You can literally feel it. You can see it in real time. I can point it out. Where here comes the delusions. I can literally predict the delusions before it happens. You've seen me do it multiple times. Because whenever shit gets too real, people don't like to respond with that with logic, saying, okay, I need to just, out. It ain't even about debating, but I need to bring the facts because at the end of the day, the facts are on my side. That's not what happens. What happens is folks start looking for the delusional escape hatches. Shout out to David Carroll. Okay, make sure y'all there. They start looking for the delusional escape hatches. Or they start flipping the damn table. They start saying you a coon or you this, you that. Because the truth is they don't have an answer. Rather than saying, I don't know. I don't know. That's a great question. Let me ponder on that and I'll get back to you. Let's move on to something else. But I feel like there's an answer to that. They just start arguing because that's all they know how to do. That's all they know how to do. So if I ask a question, like I said, what is it that black men? The answer is black men don't get jack shit from the black community. Black women benefit from the black community, and when they want to operate something in some of the hood shit that they get the benefits for, they call themselves wanting to divest. Like David Carroll said, run to the white man and shit like that, as if this is not a community that they had. They created. They want to act like this is the community that they just happen to just somehow wind up in, and they're just victims of circumstances. And this is why when you always hear like us as a people talk about let's start over, let's just come together, I always rail against that because my thing is folks want to rewrite history. And what folks want, and my thing is that's what con artists do. Con art, I mean, shit, fuck con artists. Think about the bankers. Think about the bailout program that happened in 2008. We all know of it. We all know what happened. I mean, it seems like it's nothing, pennies compared to the money the government's throwing around right now with the like the omnibus and stimulus checks and all that bullshit. And then this is the second one, but it was $900 billion. And what did they say? They had like that shit was gonna break the government when we know now that's bullshit when it comes to reparations. And the bankers got their bailout. Who else got the bailout? And keep in mind, nobody got money. Nobody got money at that point like we did now. It was just, it had to be done. Otherwise, the economy is going to be fucked. Right? And not only did the bankers get bailouts, Ford, General Motors, and Chrysler got a bailout. Now, which is a reward for them making shitty cars for 10 years. And then they were able to offload the pensions that a lot of black men had gotten from working for them, but as well as, obviously more white people. And then 10 years later, we deal with similar shit. We deal with similar shit later. Which is really why the American dollar is like where it's going now in the foreseeable future. They fucked up again. So whenever people want to reset, no, especially when they don't even, it's one thing when they don't want to acknowledge what happened, that is a scam. And anybody that would cater to that shit, let me keep it real. I get you got money to make, and I'm talking about anybody that does this. But don't pretend that folks are doing that for the better of the community. That's not what it is. Usually what it is like, okay, let's I know that's bullshit, but let's kick the can. Let's kick the can damn, my ass beat. Let's kick the can down the road. I'm not about to fuck up my money now in order to for this bullshit, because that's some bullshit that can get handled later. I can understand why somebody would say that, and I get that, but that's what's going on. It's not, and I'm thinking of Polite Umar, I'm thinking of all of it. It's not some shit where, oh, well, we can just fix the community while dealing with this. Reconciliation, part of reconciliation, and this is where us as a people we don't want to do the hard work. And when I say the hard work, I'm not talking about going out there and volunteering, because I do that for NACA all the time, promoting NACA, getting black people in that. Right now, getting a NACA house is 2.5 interest rate, which is lower than what the interest rate is in the national market. Because I've always told you all, I am a economic pro-black. And that is something that I do. It's something that's easy for me to do. It's something for me to use kind of like my internet skills to do it. And it's just something I'm passionate about, because I know home ownership is a really good way of setting people up. And I've helped a lot of black couples, young black couples that are married, Kevin and We Be Proud. Them both working, getting their stuff together rather than renting for 10 years and shit. Being in a good position, That's one reason why they do the 15. It's one reason why they do the 15-year program, because that's a way of getting a house paid off quicker. So my point is, I do that, but that's it. More has to be done to actually do things on a higher scale. You have to have a social contract. You have to have something simple that can be scaled up. All people are doing when they volunteer, they're basically throwing rocks. It's like throwing rocks in a pond. You create a couple of little waves, but at the end of the day, that does not make or break the situation. It doesn't. It's just something for people to say, okay, I'm doing something. And good, congratulations, you're doing more than most. But I would take, for instance, what O'Shea did with his blog in the Negro Manosphere, and I would take that over like 1,000 hours of somebody volunteering. You know why? Because it's scalable. It's something that has more reach. It has more impact. And I'm for real with that. I mean, shit, the shit BGS is done online. When you look at the time he's put in, same thing with Angry Man. That shit has a lot more impact than just volunteering once. I'll even give Jason Black his credit with his documentaries. And if you notice, people always talk shit about shit like that. Oh, all you're doing is talking. Tariq Nasheed too. All y'all doing is talking. No, you're bringing information and knowledge and keeping people focused on this versus focused on shit that don't matter. There's a reason why media is one of your 5 floors with Dr. Clark Anderson. It's an important area of activity. But a lot of people that ain't even doing shit, or some people that are doing or don't doing shit, they tend to want to look down upon that shit in a way. When they get mad, they'll look down upon it because they'll think that like what they're doing like matters more. And the truth is, what they do ain't scalable worth a damn. This is why you don't see a lot of stuff happening in the black church. Technically, the churches and the network of churches and the ministry through the churches are supposed to be the closest thing that could scale that shit up. But going back to my main point, shout out to the Roger Report for the super chat. I don't think Ford took a bailout. I believe they rejected it. It came with some terms they didn't want to agree with. From my understanding, that's the attitude I think black people have to take on. No, Roger. I appreciate that. They did, but they came back and took the money. They did take the money. What it was they didn't take a lot because they didn't take as much. Chrysler was the one that had to accept the worst terms. So here's the thing. There was base level terms, and then Chrysler had to accept worse terms because they were in the worst position. General Motors kind of needed the money more. Really, Chrysler should have failed, but they felt like you needed more because of the nature of the auto industry as far as manufacturing and strategic asset. Think about like what they're doing with manufacturing things today. They had set some base rules, but they didn't want it to be just two main companies. So they gave Chrysler an out if somebody could buy them. But no, Ford took money too. They just didn't need it because Ford had kind of got its shit together before. So yeah, Ford took money. I remember because I remember that dance. I very much remember that dance. Because like I said, I've been paying attention to politics since I was like ninth grade. So Roger, I get what you're saying. They needed the money the least, but yes, they did take money. They just didn't take as much. But they took money. I remember. Yes, they did. They did take a bailout. Go look at it. They did. They all took it. Ford just did not need the money as much. So Ford was able to give that money back quicker. But just like how, think about it. Just like how all these companies, when the COVID shit happened, they didn't need that money either, but they took some. So they didn't need it to stay afloat. I give you that. But Ford took some money. They just looked at it more like a credit line versus a loan. Yes, fiat, yep. Italian coming. That's how they kind of start. You see the fruitions of that now. We're just seeing more and more fiat cars. They first started with putting kind of their style in the Dodge, because that gave them access in the market. Which, because really fiat ain't really doing a lot globally, they didn't really see that as a big deal. But I get you. Ford. I get y'all. Ford, I'm not saying Ford needed, they did not need it, but they had the mentality, well, shit. Because I remember that. Ford had got their shit. Because you got to remember, y'all, Ford sells. See, now y'all about to throw my shit off, but that's cool. Roger, you gave me a $10 super chat. So I'll address this. Because I like being challenged. Because this is how y'all know I'm not just talking out my ass. Because I know when niggas do a lot of talking, y'all tend to think, oh, well, this nigga, there's some percentage of that shit, of all that bullshit he's spitting is bullshit. Because he's just spitting too much, but not to be. So I like when I get challenged. It's good. Ford has the F1. And look, I'm not a car expert. I just know in certain things in the lane, okay? Ford has the F-150. The F-150 has always sold. The F-150 is always sold. They've never created shitty F-150s. The F-150 is the bread and butter of Ford. Them fucking trucks are like 40,000. They like it. Erica could probably speak on that better than I can. Cause I'm not a truck person, but I know that Ford fucking F-150 sells more than anything. So Ford always had something they could lean on and go to, and Ford over time amplified the F-150 to be damn near luxury. They have luxury versions of it. Fucking cars are like 50, 60, 70,000. You gotta remember too, F-150s, obviously people can get them for business, so it's just different fleets, just a whole bunch of shit with that, right? And I'm not just talking about just fleets, but like even like lawnmower care, stuff like that. It's been the gold standard. The Toyota, I know the Silverado is with General Motors with Chevy, and then the Toyota Tundra. That is the one nut that fucking Toyota has never been able to crack. Is really that's almost like the iPad compared to like all of the tablets. And that has always helped Ford. But all of the American companies had this thing where they had a lot of those pensions. So Ford, like made shitty cars. The Taurus, their cars were shitty. Their Lincolns were so-so, but the cars were shitty. So they set them cars up, and they basically made it so that's how Toyota was able to amplify their market, and Honda was able to get more in the market because a lot of folks wanted to buy American, but they was like, these cars are shitty. I need something reliable for a variety of reasons. So long story short, Ford was able to pull that shit back just enough before the shit really got bad for them because they were better managed. People for versus Chevy, because Chevy was so, you gotta remember, Ford was more intact versus Chevy, not Chevy, General Motors were a lot more bloated. That's why General Motors had to get rid of like Hummer. They had to get rid of Saturn. They had to get rid of Pontiac. Which, truth be told, I don't know why they didn't just take their cars in Pontiac and just lump that onto the General Motors brand, like the General Motors cars. Saturn is sad because Saturn was just starting to get their shit together, starting to make cars that might be able to sell. And then Hummer is like what gas was, it just didn't work out. Thank you, Haitian. I'm glad. Yeah, they can't because they didn't take the money because they needed it. They said the shit was available, so they looked at it more like a credit line. So I agree with you all. They didn't need it, but they looked at it like a credit line. So Ford was more able to negotiate because they were able to give the money back and say fuck it. So I get what you. So anyway, long story short, because y'all like pulled me away from what I was talking about. Long story short, going back to the pro black game as playing a pro black game and that's Obsidian statement. Love that statement. The pro black game. My thing is that we have to and I'm gonna speak on Oprah shit a little bit too since I'm here. Because I'm really just hanging out right now, hanging out with y'all. My thing is, but appreciate that Haitian with the $5 super chat, and like make sure I hit me up on that Cash App. $ Allen 100K is always appreciated. But my thing is, black men don't get no benefits, and I know everybody's pro black, understand that, but they try to pretend that shit don't exist. I'm like, no. We're gonna be very clear. There's gonna be fucking clarity as to where we are, where we're trying to go, what it takes to get there. Not no, we just gonna put a blindfold on and walk our way through it. No, the hell with that. The damn all that shit. Because that's why the shit doesn't work. Because we got too much bullshit going on. So why am I saying this? When you have somebody like Robert Smith owes his parents and his family for where he is. He don't owe you niggas shit. You niggas didn't get him where he was. It ain't like he just came out of the collective or the community and he got boosted as a strategic asset. And there's certain ownership there's certain things he needs to pay back because he got there. No, he got there, and then people latching on to him. It's not that much different. It's a little bit different. No, I don't say that Kevin Samuels, but people want to act like, well, yeah, Kevin Samuels comes out of the sphere, and there's certain people like BGS that introduced him. Then you got O'Shea that worked with him and stuff like that, and then they, obviously there's a back and forth there. But the manosphere is not why Kevin Samuels is who he is. And I think people have this ownership or try to project that shit. Some of y'all, and it's not there. And we gotta stop doing that shit. I'm cool with his success, and I see the value of what his success inherently can benefit us. But I don't really expect even the fact that he even comes in the space, like he'll be on Jessica X's stuff. I've seen him over there with Kevin stuff, which Kevin doesn't have a lot of subscribers. So that's all bonus. And I treat that like that. And I appreciate stuff like that, even super chatting. All of that is bonus, but that is nothing that he owes anybody anything. And it's the same thing with Robert Smith. Robert Smith, so when O'Shea says he has a voice, they're going to interview him because he's let me tell you something. Black billionaires are going to have a voice just by definition of what they've accomplished. And in many ways, black billionaires is going to have more of a voice than like your pastors or like your rappers in many ways. This idea of who they're married to, I understand the economic part of it. I understand the passing down of wealth part of it. Let's be clear here. Black women don't give a fuck about that. That's an ego trip for them. Let's just be honest about that. The truth is, if black women stop overspending on bullshit, they would have a lot more money. If they consolidated the hair care industry rather than just being consumers, they would have a lot more money. And to the credit, there's a lot of black women that do sell hair. So worried about who the top 1,000 or 2,000 people are fucking is tertiary. Another thing too is if people care about that so much, what happened to Bill Cosby? You're lucky anybody that's got money gives anything back to the community. Because at the end of the day, if anything, Bill Cosby proved that shit don't mean jack shit when it comes down to it. The people that he gave money to turned on him. Now, granted, I'm not the biggest fan of Bill Cosby because Bill Cosby had a lot of black male shit to say. And I get he was talking about, that was lower classes. But even then, at that level, he should have worded that shit differently. And the people that he did defend wasn't there at the end of the day. But if you look at that speaks volumes as far as how black people really value what people really do when they put the work in on stuff like that. And if anything, and you don't hear no pro-blacks with that, which you heard, and there was people like Angry Man defending, there was a lot of black men defending Bill Cosby, but there was also a lot of pro-blacks that use that as an opportunity to bring another black man down. So there's a lot of layers with stuff like that. So my point is, when Robert Smith did what he did with giving money to, I believe it was Spelman or Morehouse, whatever, but these were black men. Then he turned around and helped their parents so their parents wouldn't burden the sons. And then a lot of these black men are going to marry black women. Some of them may marry light skin, but they're going to marry a lot of black women. So by definition, what he helped was create kind of like an echo effect. And quite frankly, if black women talk about what these men don't do and ain't marrying, that's a personal problem because that's on you to basically earn these men. You're not owed these men. And at some point, the product, which is something a lot of pro-blacks don't like to talk about, although sometimes they will. I've heard Boyce Watkins do it every once in a while. I've heard Umar even start to do it. You got to deal with the product as the product is. And we can say what we want to say about black men and black women, but the truth is other people are willing to deal with the product that is black women versus people willing to deal with black men versus the product that's black women. I'm sorry. And you have to address that. You can't en route around it. That's not going to be something that's just going to magically fix itself if you fix everything else because y'all are scared of black women. A lot of them. But at the end of the day, when people say, well, you can't be a leader, And oh, he's got a white wife. Well, he had a mixed wife first. His kids, only one of his sons are like mixed like that. The rest of them are pretty much just as black as he is, because he got with a light skinned woman, his first wife. And that's how I know a lot of people are sexual politics. Because I remember that from the field, from the Advice show. A lot of these dudes had kids with black women. Same thing with Jeezy and Jenny Ma. They had kids with black women. And it doesn't matter, oh, well, they got up there and nothing. No, the genetic part is the only real part y'all should really be talking about. Michael Jordan is included. And when people try to get around that, they try to say, oh, well, you need to do this. No, fuck all that. That's the gynocracy flexing its muscles. Shout out to Doggy Dog for the community. And I'm always going to rail against that. No, you're not fucked. And see, you don't understand the context if you don't think of it as a gynocracy. I'm like, no. I know exactly what this is. You all are using flexing your muscles in order to sexual politic. That's what you all are using. Because at the end of the day, that's really what you all care about. Your ego and narcissism. And so we're not going to pretend like you all are the arbiters of the black community or anything a lot of these sisters really do contribute to building a community. Fuck that. So what is my point? My point is, when we talk about having a voice, folks like Don Peebles, real estate dude who's about to be a billionaire, who hires black people, who hires black contractors he does pretty much what Trump does, except, actually does it right. Who's raised money for black politicians, like great black mayors like Coleman Young. Yes, these motherfuckers deserve weight is I take their weight more than I take a raggedy ass pastor that because he fucking some black females or he's married to a black woman. Then you got people, look, and I'm going to keep it real. Shout out to Jason Black. But you can say what you want to about Jason Black. He ain't got no kids. He ain't with a black woman. Or at least married. Say what you want to about Umar. I don't know if Umar ain't got kids. These motherfuckers, they're just married to the community. And no. And I'm not saying that money trumps everything. Because there's a lot of things that Jason Black has done, interviews, stuff like that trumps, like if somebody's throwing $1 million or $2 million in the community. Because, that ain't going to make... I'm not saying you can just buy your way in a community necessarily. But what I am saying is, if your actions are there, then who you're married with is tertiary. Now, do I agree that you could be a leader, the face of what black people are? Not necessarily. I don't agree with that. But most people that are the face don't have power anyway. The most powerful people in most groups are not the people you see. And that's true even in the black community. Now, Farrakhan is like an exception to that rule, but Farrakhan is like an exception. Well, not an exception, but like an exception to that rule. But those are usually not the most powerful people you see. And this idea, and when you look at who are leaders in the black community, the NAACP and all that shit, look at where we are. And then you got a lot of quote unquote coons that are married to black women. And hell, let's talk about the dudes that are married to black women. It ain't like they get the benefit of the doubt. Snoop Dogg didn't get the benefit of the doubt. Ice Cube, for the most part, didn't get benefit of the doubt. To be fair, a lot of black women did back him up, though. You being married to a black woman does not give you this like credit card where the black community is going to trust what you're saying, what you're doing. It didn't matter if any of them motherfuckers that went to see Trump initially that they were married to black women. We remember Jim Brown. We remember how black people acted when Trump first got in office. That shit don't matter when it comes down to it. You are just another nigga as if you with a white chick. So my thing is, let's stop pretending like that means something, because it don't. The other things, and so that's the first part. The second part is, like I said, there is no benefits to the black community. We have to, it's only an investment without a return on. So it ain't even an investment, it's fucking charity. And so it needs to be, it needs to be treated like that and not treated like, oh, you need to do it because you a man. No. My responsibility as a man is to build my shit up, build myself up for my family, that collection, that collective community shit is for if we actually have a contract that we're building towards. Now, if we're just doing some random shit and then calling it that, that's not what it is. And this is why I keep coming back to a lot of this shit has to be put out there. Because if you do not actually have a social contract, nothing matters. It's always going to come back to the same bullshit because you have nothing to really focus it on. And this is the thing that people want to get the fuck around. They don't want to address this because they know this shit they know how hard this shit is going to be to address. It's just like when you have reconciliation or you do diplomacy, before, what had happened in the American Revolution? They made sure they got a contract up first. And it was hard. It was very hard to create the American contract. Even though they were all white men, even though they all had, they knew that basic shit they wanted, but the devil's always in the details. It's always in the details. And it doesn't matter how much you build, if you don't set that foundation up, it's always going to fall on a house of cards. And that's the problem. Nobody wants to address this shit. And let's take the gender part out of it. Because everybody like, oh, you're just blaming black women. Okay. I'm an economic pro-black. Think about the relationship between the black consumer and a black business owner. There's no social contract there too. And that goes cross-gender. You can look at black women and see how black women interact with black women in business. And if you want to get black women talking like black men in the sphere does, just ask them about why they don't contribute, why they don't support black female businesses. And they're gonna say the same shit we say magically. They're gonna magically say the same shit. Interesting how that works. And it's the same thing with black business on black business consumers. Don't get me started on the cross gender shit with Kevin True. Get me started on that shit and lack of respect. But that's true for a lot of black establishment, not just the necessarily gender element there. How to sell to the Negro, y'all. I mean, you can look at the hair care industry and look at how how that shit isn't controlled. So nobody never wants to really address these things. So these social contracts are not just between the genders. They're also with business owners. There's a couple of different ways. There's a couple of social contracts that black people just refuse to engage in. And there's bullshit now with the consumer and owner shit. There's bullshit on both sides there. With the gender shit, yeah, there's things that black men can do. Everybody's to talk about, well, it ain't, people like I had a woman on Facebook and she actually lives in my city and she made this comment about, I don't know why I subscribe to you. Cause I've done a lot of like status posts recently in the last 72 hours. And then she just, I don't agree with none of this shit you saying. And some of this shit is not even that. A lot of this shit I'm saying is common sense. Excuse me. Common sense. And, I took the time to explain some things. And then I just tried sharing that link to Love Dorsey. And she's got some gamer chick bullshit on there. So she's like, you just sent me a link to a gamer chick. I'm like, okay. So I said, you know what? I got you. I'm not going to be an asshole and tell you to unfollow me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just segment you out so you're not getting this shit. So you ain't getting triggered. I don't know, because she seems like a nice, she acknowledged some of the things I said. She said, because I told her, I said, you already know the majority of motherfuckers out here fucked up as far as females. And then she basically acknowledged that, but then she came back with dudes are fucked up. And I'm like, okay, the difference between the dudes being fucked up is you all open your legs to them niggas and have kids with them. I don't know why we keep acting like the majority of black men are just completely fucking up. And these women are like not fucking like specific type of men, but whatever. There's that. So anyway, also we're gonna jump in with the Oprah. So apparently Oprah sold the majority stake in her network, so she has officially failed at that shit, and that's unfortunate. This is what happens when you're not gonna be able to build a whole network around just black women. Now she tried to make it female. Let's just be clear here: women don't even support just female only shit most of the time. And this is the thing that a lot of people don't like to really account for. They really don't. You know, get my ass beat by this bitch. Gotcha. So hopefully this works. Anyway, so what's up, Roger Report? What's up, Rade? What's up, Pharaoh? Come on, come on. Yeah, sorry. What's up, Black Curl, Doggy Dog? Who want to claim the Buick on blocks? Buicks have gotten their shit together though, man. All that shit Tiger Woods did for Buick, and you saw how they played him. I bet you Jay-Z on the low is increasing in money. People forget Sprint got absorbed by T-Mobile, and real talk, if they kept that contract with Jay-Z with Tidal, I know that Jay-Z has got increasing money on the low. But the problem is, so my thing is what you contribute is based on what you contribute. And yes, there is some weight to be had about being with a black woman. I'm not saying there's not. But at the same time, man, you know, a lot of that Jesus shit where you want one leader and we're voting for a president, I think that's bullshit. And I think that's some shit that people say to get brownie points with females. But at the end of the day, you gonna get a hell of a lot more from a Robert Smith than you gonna get from like 1,000 black females. So we need to stop acting like they're actually contributing into the quote unquote building of what the community is. So therefore their little issues is something we need to like take under consideration. Like for fucking real. You know. Damn. Like for real. We need to stop that shit. We really do. Well, I mean, and then act like we serious about really doing some shit. Like for real. Cause oh my God. So current community with liabilities. Yeah, it is. So-called neighborhoods. Sounds like you just Smurl says I'm making excuses for these colors. Broke Dusties to Bill. Well, I mean, you know, whenever I hear a female use the word dusty, I mean these are like childish bitch statements. That's all that is. You know, they calling niggas dusties. I'm like, guess what? You need us more than fuck we need you. We ain't crying about what you doing. You crying about first of all, these women don't dusties. You're fucking them. So shut up. You know, people are talking about dusty. They're only dusty because you keep opening your legs to them. Cynthia G proved that shit with the Robert Perkins shit. So I mean, really end up all that dusty shit, and you a lot of this is the one thing you got to understand. A lot of times you have to learn to not engage with the female delusional mind sometimes. And I know I'm kind of the last one that really needs to be saying that, but really a lot of this is you know, you if you go down, you know, to take a quote from David Carroll, the rabbit hole of the female delusional mind, you know, you might go crazy. SWP is a cautionary tale of why not to do that. A lot of this stuff you just got to charge it to not only that they're women, but you know, they're on some delusional shit, and you know, you can engage in a delusion so you let people know you understand it. You understand like where they're pulling this bullshit from. But outside of that, if you try to bring logic to their delusion, that's a mistake. Yeah, doggy dog. People do want to sacrifice your life, and they want to say, and they know that's what they want, and that's why they're trying to be. They always like they can never be candid about it. And BGS did a video talking about I forget the documentary on HBO that was talking about Chernobyl, stating that you know we know this is what you want to do, but you all want to kind of dance around it because truth be told you know that if you frame it the way you know you're framing it, you're gonna lose. You're gonna pretty much lose everybody. You know that. So this is why I say a lot of these. This is why being pro-black is considered like a diss, because you know these motherfuckers are in on it to a certain extent. There's different levels of that, but they know that they're logical. They're not stupid. So they just try to kick the can to act like, well, we'll deal with that later. No, you're not, because you can't get past go until you handle this issue. Rhapsody freestyle. Talk about watch your tone. Like all that shit is ways to have layer. When people talk about how you say it and shit, I'm gonna be like, so what are you, like 6? You're 5? Like it's not like I'm talking to your daughter. I'm talking to you. You a grown ass woman. So what, you telling me you a kid? Are you fucking serious? When people say watch your tone, I'm like, I'm not talking to a child. Watch your tone. Like, man, are you see? Black women are the last people that should ever tell a black man to watch his fucking tone. Think about that for a second. Like, man, don't even get me started on this shit. I'm going through some of y'all's chats. Yeah, and we gotta start, and I mean, you gotta acknowledge that for the simple fact that you want more black people to do it. Like, it's common fucking sense. It's common sense. That's in your best interest. It's not in black people's collective best. Like, here's the thing. Think about it. Think about it. You want black, like this is what a pro black dude should be saying. Look, man, you want black men to feel like they gotta pay a tax to date out. You want black men to feel like they need to give money back to black people to date out. You want that to be there, so why would you shame them anyway? Doesn't that sound like some female shit? And what's crazy about this is, you ask women about interracial dating, they always play the I'm not bothered by it card. Well, I don't care what people do. I just think that those men shouldn't talk about black women. Well, guess what? Most black men that date out don't. It's really a lot of the black men that are still fucking you that's talking about your ass. So you're saying that like as if the dudes that don't date out are supposed to tell, like as if that's the only place it's coming from. And this is the kid shit. I mean, this is the childish shit. So we can never get nowhere. Georgia Boy says there are good women and there are bad women of all races, but only black women ain't shit. Let y'all niggas tell it. Georgia Boy, get out your damn feelings. Don't do that. Because Georgia Boy, in my opinion, you are the archetype for what black male guilt is. A nigga that fucked a lot of bitches, did your thing, got a lot of cooperation, which is great. And then you feel this kind of like it's not as bad as like, a pro black would be, but you have this kind of, you feel the need to always play the 50-50 game because you got easy cooperation from women. So your perspective is kind of from that position. That's why it's always like you try to bring the guilt chains into the conversation. As far as, let us tell it, the reason why black men talk about black women is because mostly black men are fucking black women. That's what we're dealing with. That should be obvious. However, if you want a black man that talks shit about non-black women all day, go to Donovan Sharp. This is why I mentioned Donovan Sharp. Go to Donovan Sharp. He only talks about white women. He throws black women there every once in a while, but he don't even fuck with black women. He talks about white women. He talks about white women. And it's not like white women get a pass from us. When that chick West was talking shit, she got the work. When these Latins come in there on some colorism shit, they get the work. Like, you're in a black manosphere. What the fuck are we gonna talk about? Like, are we supposed? We're talking about why we do from a collective standpoint. It ain't really that many dudes in the sphere that really they date out to the extent that they don't only date date non-black women. Quiet as it's kept. SYSBM is the main faction for that, but that's a faction. And here's the funny thing. What is the purpose of us talking about other women? First of all, you're talking to me, and I say don't go red pill for black women and remain blue pill for non-black women. But the second thing is, what would be the purpose in a black male? And second of all, we don't sit there and act like all women ain't got their own issues. I've done extensive stuff talking about how women, non-black women play the long game and shit like that. But what's the purpose of us talking about non-black women constantly? What would that serve? Other than we say, don't go over there being goofy, acting like shit. There's other challenges that you deal with going over there. And I've always said there's no one size fits all thing. What's the purpose of doing that for, unless it's to play to a not all, and they do it too. That's a female argument. What purpose, if you're talking about from a black community standpoint, does it serve to talk about what other women do? That makes no sense. Donovan does it because he dates white women. That makes no sense. And you say, let us tell it. No, dudes are not out here. See, and that's another thing, too. This thing about everybody is like bigging up but no. We're making comparisons to say non-black women are the control group. This is how black women operate within the control group. It's not to say that black women are better, non-black women are better. People say non-black. And the truth is, non-black women are nicer to you. That's just what it is. Women can get mad all day. They talk about, well, you ain't shit. You got to remember, a lot of black women, they look at one black man through the perspective of how they see all black men. Unless they're dudes like Georgia Boy, where he's got, he can get it. He can get the draw. He got the, what I call Chris Brown. He can get the draw status on site. So you may think niggas ain't shit in general, because remember, a lot of them women that say niggas are trash unless they want to fuck. And Georgia Boy fits in that. And Georgia Boy, I'm not hating on you. I know you're married. It's no problem. I'm not saying this to try to act like there's something wrong with you. What I'm saying is that's where you are in the sexual marketplace. And that does not necessarily mean that, because remember, you could have been a nigga on child support too. So let's not act like, and so a lot of the dudes that talk the most shit will be dudes in Georgia Boy's situation, but then they got hemmed up on child support, so it's a lot of shit they can't do. So now they talking shit. So this is not about well, you just don't get pussy, so you upset. Because even if you do you find out how much the motherfuckers give a fuck about you when they need some resources from your ass. You got lucky, you got married. And then whatever other woman you're dealing with, you got cooperation from them. But that's not how a lot of dudes are. So all the dudes that get pussy, guess what? Go to child support court, you find out real quick how much respect that gives along with a lot of those dudes. But my point to saying that is, you dudes be hearing shit, and it's like they got a cup, and it's like water gets overflows. Oh man, it's just too much blaming women. I just gotta say anything in order to make the shit 50-50-50-50. Because it's just too much. I can't stand it. This is why I'm saying it needs to be a purple pill space that needs to be created. Because there's a lot of dudes that, again, where are the facts? Where am I wrong? And again, I'm not, I'm telling you what the problems are. And the problems don't matter. It just matters that somebody's feeling a certain type of way. About, you're just saying women. You're saying women. All women. There's some good, there's some bad. No, there's not some good and some bad. If it was some good and some bad, the community wouldn't be in the situation that it's in. This shit is much more pervasive than a lot of people like to say. It's kind of like me saying, and I'm going to say it in a different way. Let's say I'm a millionaire. Let's say my parents have money. That doesn't all of a sudden mean that the black community got money. That doesn't mean that all of a sudden. So if you're sitting there talking about, so if I'm sitting here talking about black poverty and the black community and wealth, and then you come at me and say, well, you know, there's some niggas that are broke and some niggas that got money, you don't get a accurate picture as to you don't get an accurate picture as to what's going on in the black community doing saying shit like that. And black people say too much. Black people do that too much. Well, they want to sit there and just charge it to the, well, we're just going, I'm going to say something and make it real ambiguous and say I'm saying something. No, it's not how that works. I'm not at war with nobody. It ain't a gender war. I say it's a common sense thing. I'm not at war with anybody either. I'm just speaking my opinion. And I'm for black men having a voice and basically black men being heard. That what black people as a collective do with that, that's up to them. You rarely hear black men refer to what we do as gender warring or the gender war. I've been enough in similar spaces with you to know that's not what that's referred to. You don't see us constantly talking about what these chicks say. And a lot of that is low key trying to undermine what we do by saying, yeah, man, I ain't like them niggas. I ain't like them niggas. As if we don't got real lives that we're living in real life. Like all we do, like people kill me with that shit. I know what the shit they say in the comment sections, Galaxy content. I know that from years ago. And if you don't believe it, go to Jessica's X channel and see when them people get on the video. A lot of them chicks are socially awkward, and their dating experiences has traumatized them. A lot of them chicks can't bond. They've been with niggas ain't shit because those are the best they could do, or they like the dudes and how they look, and they didn't care about nothing else. Then they want to bitch about character. Congratulations, Georgia boy. You're married. Congratulations. I don't think your wife is fully ADOS, though, since we're going to tell the whole truth. Let's tell the whole truth. Let's tell the whole truth. Not just you married, like, we don't be we ain't talking really about non-ADOS women. Not to say that they ain't got their own fucking problems. Oh no, I got a cash app. I don't want to, let me get the username because I know y'all don't like me saying your government name. And I respect that. Shout out to Malik for the super chat, the $10 super chat. Great info. I appreciate that. Georgia boy, most black women are not married. Only 1 in 4 black women will ever be married in their life. So by definition, even if I take out every black woman, I take out black women that are married, that still leaves 75 percentage of women. So, and another thing too is that people make the mistake of believing that the women that I entertain or deal with or are around operate like the women I'm talking about online. And the problem is, again, it's like I give the metaphor of talking about it like talking about black wealth. Just because you got money doesn't mean black people doesn't have a black wealth problem. So people have this thing where they gotta feel the shit in their personal experience and not see a problem. You can be a white man and have 4 or 5 white children. Does that mean that white genocide is not an issue? Does that mean that the replacement levels is not an issue for white people? Like this is the shit I'm talking about, and I'm talking about shit from a collective level. You can't really look at things from your individual situation from a collective level. There's a reason why they call it microeconomics and macroeconomics. And too many black people have to wait till something affects them to be saying it. I'm not speaking from, oh, this is what I deal with in my nigga. I don't deal with bitches like that in my real life. I'm talking about even being around them, regardless of race. But that's not what I'm talking about. Yeah, well, Smurgo, the point, like I'm like behind, but Georgia Boy, like I respect Georgia Boy, but like I said, he's coming from like a guilt shit. You know, he ran through bitches, and a lot of niggas that run through bitches have this thing about, well, they can't be that bad because they let me run through them, and I know I did dirt, so I'm gonna project that to everybody. And I mean, one like what are you talking about? I mean, I know, like I've always said, 20% of black women are fine. It's 80% that have varying degrees of issues. And when I say varying degrees, they all not like 100% on some shit. You know, I've shown you ratchet women that got common sense. I have shown you on this platform, even some of y'all talking shit, a variety of black women from different. I've shown you 92s that got sense, 85, even 85s, 85 or 87s has got sense. I've shown you that. So you all should know that I know how to tell the difference. But my problem and the issue I kind of have with Georgia Boy is, and look, everybody ain't necessarily in the black community and should care about it like that. What I'm saying is this idea that we want to pretend like an issue is not an issue, whatever. And that's why a lot of motherfuckers are not invested in even dealing with the black community like that, because motherfuckers are not serious. Well, hypothetical. Well. The collective situation, the stats tell us what's hypothetical and not. The stats are not hypothetical. More than 50% of your women have STDs. 80% of them are overweight. Like 50% of them are obese. You can look in any call where these women are calling and see what mindset they're on. Only 1 in 4 is going to get married. That's going to be less as the older generations die off. Single motherhood rate seems to be topping off at about 65%. I mean, those are not hypotheticals. They may not be your situation. Of course. And Chris Brooks said that a lot of these bitches are dirty and gutter. And I'm gonna tell you why. Tariq Nasheed, what did not Karazin, what did Cynthia G do? She suggested they be sued. The other girl, she could suggest that these are broke ass hoes that just want to get a lick. And that's going to go bad for her if she listens to them. Because the truth is, you know, when you're on, he did not, he put, well, you can't sue for something. I mean, you can sue for anything, but that shit is going to get dismissed. And trust and believe, Kevin's petty. You do some shit like that, that bitch will be countersued and have to pay for that money. And then you going to find out how much 6 figures she really got. But see, these women want to. Do you know why these women want her to do that? Because it wouldn't matter that, let's say she sued him and then he countersued and got that money back. That shit wouldn't matter because Kevin's already talked about shit like slander, and so Kevin's not afraid of a lawyer because he mentioned that with another situation. But um but the funny thing is, they want to say that he got sued because they want to make him look bad, and they will just say, "Oh, he got sued." It don't matter how it came up, and this is how, like, even what O'Shea spoke on Karazin, talking about like potentially an email that says that maybe she's talking about flagging. This is who these chicks are. This is who these women are, man. These women are horrible people online. A lot of these females, content creators, they are horribly spirited. Like, you got to really look at the history. So Karazin goes from going on Kevin shit, saying all that bullshit that we knew it was a lie. I almost went blind rolling my eyes at hearing that shit. 72 hours later, she did what she did with Kevin. Then she turned around, went on Jason Black shit. So nobody's inviting her to these spaces. She's choosing to come to these spaces. Jason Black gave her a different type of welcome. Then, and that's not the first time. She's been on O'Shea shit. Rashida Schrober's come through. These motherfuckers come to our spaces. Don't act like these motherfuckers, we just talk about them all day, every day, and then they come over here. Motherfuckers, for the most part, other than the new cats, ain't been talking about Kerrison. SWP done been let Kerrison go. And SWP told her about her daughter, her doing the dumb shit she did. You see what happened with that? You got the new cats talking about Kerrison like that. Most of us, we just said, fuck it. We're not even going to mention you because of that list shit. And then she wound up in like O'Shea chat and shit like that. So they always hovering because a lot of them, they need content. They need us to talk about them because a lot of them don't got shit to really brag on. They ain't got shit to do, so they start recycling nigga ain't shit content. It is code for black man, Jim Rat. And I love it because the same, you calling niggas dusty, but then you expect, if you dusty, then why are you even engaging with black men then? Again, why don't you just deal with non-black women, go the gay route and start fucking each other? You know, go. I mean, if it's, do that. So the women we need to deal with, like the ones like Georgia Boy's married to, you know, they can get a fair lick. All these women with these fucking black issues and shit, I don't even know why they even fuck with black men like that. Oh, he's dusty. He's dusty. Like the weave, all of that, but they calling you that. It's the shit's funny to me. Letting niggas drive your car. That's some shit you only really see in the black community. But you call them dusty. You fucking dusty people. That shit kills me. Smurgo, leave Georgia Boy alone. A lot of what y'all talk about is a back and forth. Okay, no, that was no cap, no BS. Appreciate the cash app, but $10. And I'm gonna keep it real with you, y'all. I appreciate any money you all give me, so don't act like I'm trying to tell you what to do. Y'all know Cash App is preferred because fuck YouTube. But if that's a deal breaker, it's. I'm happy you do it all the same. Yeah, I am far behind. Here's the thing, man. Georgia Boy is measured about the shit, so it's not like, I'm saying he doesn't have a voice, have a right to talk. I mean, I'm not putting, it's not like when I'm talking about dudes like Brother Ray and shit like that, I don't mention Georgia Boy's measured about it. I know he gets it, so yeah. And who knows the type of streams he be listening to? Because some streams, these motherfuckers may be going in like that. So what I do is I take that example and kind of say, look, I know like what creates kind of some of the things that goes into that mindset sometimes. Cause I got friends like that. They ran through a whole bunch of bitches and they're married, and then they got cause it's like they got penance or some shit. And I know dudes that was smart. They ran through bitches, then they went back to the chick that was like on the I want him, and I'ma wait for him. Like the good girl. I'm talking about the good girl, where she's alright, but you can see why if he could get better looking women, he did, and she's just waiting to the point where she could look like a fucking idiot. But she's one of them few where he was smart and he circled back to her, and she loves him a hell of a lot more than he loves her, but he got love for her. He's got two sons. And he ain't got to worry about shit like that because she is just happy that he got back with her or he got with her. And I'm glad it worked out for her. And I'm glad he did that. Now I wouldn't tell nobody necessarily to do that, but I'm gonna tell you, he ain't got no fucking problems. He's raising his two sons and he ain't got no problems because she winning. And he ain't no rich dude, he ain't broke. But so I've seen that situation. And yeah, I mean, I'm pro black too, but I'm not pro stupid, I'm not pro bullshit. And I'm like, if you're gonna do it, we're gonna do it. Fuck that catering bullshit. Every black man shouldn't explain yourselves. We do what we do, so you don't have to. Well, Georgia boy, everybody got rejected. There's no like I'm not making it sound like, even Barry Bonds got struck out. What I'm saying, I'm not trying to say you're a model for what not to do. What I'm saying is I'm not saying nothing bad. I mean, you got played. It's cool. And a lot of dudes have a different perspective because they've seen it from a different vector. I'm not disqualifying what you've seen. But what I'm saying is, you know, that's not necessarily representative of what the reality of the situation is. But that's not your problem. You're married. So I mean you're doing what technically you're supposed to be doing. Congratulations. And I remember how you talked about you got your relationship. So you did that the smart way. Yes, they already forgive white supremacy, but they'll never forgive black men though. I mean, I don't really agree with lying to women because I think if you really have power, you shouldn't have to. And that blows up in your face, but whatever. No, I haven't heard of the Dark Triad. Paris had a whole poll about black men being the police. Those women were not going to accept that situation. Yeah, absolutely. No, they don't want to accept that situation. Paris is not stupid. A lot of the shit that Paris talks is because she wants to build her channel. That's all that is. That's why, like, when O'Shea don't really talk a lot of shit with her, it's because of that. It's because a lot of the shit she talks is predicated on her just trying to build her channel and her trying to she does like what Tommy tries to do. So whatever. She ain't really serious. Paris is another tall chick too. That's one thing about tall chicks that people don't talk about. Tall chicks don't sometimes have issues in the black community because black men ain't really trying to deal with tall chicks like that. And that's something that doesn't really get talked about. And I know she's on the taller side because she was talking about playing tennis. And tennis chicks are never short. I mean, Osaka is 5'11". What's up, Nick Taylor? If you're seen as a leader, appreciate the $5 super chat. If you're seen as a leader in the black community, you must accuse black pathology. If you don't, you will be attacked and impugned by your alter. Absolutely. Absolutely. You're like under make no mistake, if you're a leader, if you're seen as a leader in the black community, you're seen as a leader of the gynocracy, meaning you work for black women. Make no mistake about that. Make no mistake. And that's why I'm saying ain't nobody trying to be no leader. Damn, Ezra, he said, I got arranged partners. He said, you get to pick, but this is the pool. I mean, people act like that shit don't happen. That shit still happens, man. No, and I appreciate that, Georgia boy. And like I said, man, I'm not here. Like, if people be saying some straight stupid shit, they saying stupid shit. But if people are saying some shit, and I know I can kind of say, okay, I get where you're coming from. This is still what I think, but I get where you're coming from. I understand that. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're really focused at the end of the day, man, if you're really focused on finding like a black female, like you can look at 8 9 8 I mean, you can make that shit happen. But what I'm saying is, from doing it at a mass scale, it's a problem. 1 in 4 black women will be married is a problem. 80% of divorces being blown up by women is a problem. These are problems. These are issues. The obesity rate, hell, the child rate. A lot of them, but when you start looking at niggas fucking, and here's another thing. At some point, as black men, I say this all the time. Black men got to separate who they fucking from who they would stay with, and be careful about that. And as you can see, like half of the population has that under control, but it's a small percentage that still don't get it. So at the end of the day, man, once you know this information, if you still choose to engage being goofy, that's on you. I don't take a lot of these women seriously at all. What's up, the Roger Report? Are they good people? No. And the most dangerous black men. Here's another thing I want you all to understand too. You all, and this is one reason why you all notice I rail against you all a little bit when when I put a female out, and the first thing you all want to do is talk shit. Is because you all have to develop a good eye for delineating good black women from bad ones. I don't care how rare that is. You still need to know how to look for it and need to break them down by degrees. Because the truth is, a lot of these dudes that are super pro black, they can't tell you the difference between a good black woman and a bad one. They can't tell you one that's on the team and one that's not. And just because a woman's fucking you doesn't mean she's on the team. A lot of these pro athletes, shout out to Jada Black, who talked about that dude he got broke up with years ago. Um, got broke up with years ago when he didn't get drafted. A lot of these, especially now with these younger women, these millennials, they're not, just because they fuck you don't mean they for it. They are down for you. And a lot of dudes have that kind of that situational blindness. They really do. He said, I just told the story of Maurice Chestnut carried their best man. That's funny. Shit, B. I'm not B. Nah, B. That I don't see that shit. I do not see that shit. No, I don't know what you talking about. A lot of tall, and I know a lot of tall dudes. A lot of tall dudes I know, they be wanting chicks that are no taller than 5'7". Maybe Georgia boy, you speak on it, cause I'm short. Is what you call it saying true? Is what I'm saying true? Ah, Pittman hoes daily. That's funny. Well, when I say dangerous, I mean dangerous to the gynocracy. That's actually a really empowering story at the end of the day, man. I like that he did that video. That was a great video, man. Exactly. You talk about agree with you or agree with me. That fun size shit is real. And nigga, I'm telling you I told you just like I told you in the last video, man. I'm saying that from experience. I'm not because I wish the shit you talking about was true. But that shit ain't true. And then let's keep it real. It ain't a whole bunch of really attractive chicks that are like 5'10" and up. Let's call that what it is too. So even if I split the middle and say, okay, maybe you right, they can't find that even if they wanted to. And black men, and let's keep it real, black men don't be thinking like that. Black men do not be thinking, I want a tall chick so I can so for what? Black men don't really be thinking like that. No, I'm not. Well, I appreciate y'all super chats. Um, NBA said 5'6" to 5'8" is a hot spot. Yeah, that may be a hot spot to a taller dude, but like once you get past like 5'6", really 5'7", that number stops to drop down. It's a little bit better with black women, but dudes don't be really looking like that. Oh, I need me a tall bitch. No, man. But maybe that's something for y'all tall motherfuckers to talk about. Well, it depends on how they look. And another thing is, you say they don't get bred out, but the reality is it depends on when you look at height. There's only 14% of dudes that are 6 foot and higher. So it depends on what you believe. And another thing too is black people have an inflated view on how tall motherfuckers are supposed to be. That's another thing that doesn't really get accounted for. Like even Kevin said that. Like the tallest like Kevin's 6'4", and he said it's only like 5% of the population is that tall. Yeah. And that's only a small percentage. And the truth is, yeah, but at the end of the day, man, like, and I can imagine when you're in a long-term relationship, you want a taller person. But when we talk about just fucking, nah, man, that ain't what it is. That ain't just what it is. Motherfuckers be on the bullshit. Cause I've had to compete on that shit too much. That fun size bullshit gets on my fucking nerves. It really does. But I've gotten past it. Because I got assets too. Everybody got to use what they got, man. I got light skin assets, and I'm in the South. Like, for instance, one thing that women always comment me on is like my eyes. Oh, you got eyes and da da da. So we all got to use what we got. What's up, BGS? Yeah, BGS can speak on it. Yeah, BGS, speak on. Let me know. So what's the hot spot? What's the sweet spot for a tall dude? You got your tall people in your family. I say these dudes be wanting fun size chicks. And they talking about these dudes be looking for women that are like 5'10", as tall as they can get. Exactly. What's up, BGS can break the tie. Y'all mother, yeah, man, they be wanting tall shit. Nah, bullshit. Y'all gotta BGS, man. I know I haven't talked about, since you here, I haven't talked about that Expanse. You gotta get back on that Expanse, man. That shit, it's on its 5th season now. That shit is lit. Thank you. I told you, man. Cause the truth is, usually you'll take after your dad anyway. Now I will say this: when you look at a lot of NBA players, it do be that they moms be on the taller end. Yeah, man. And I'm talking, when I say want, I don't mean like kind of want. I mean they desire that shit. That shit is desired on par with like light skin, in my opinion. The reason why I say that is because BG, number one, is not that BGS is tall and his son is tall. BGS deals with a lot of basketball people that's around that orbit. And then obviously on top of that, it's California, LA. So there's a variety of reasons why I went that route. No, and I'm gonna tell you, that's one thing that a lot of women never talk about. Like when that one chick called, it was Nigerian. She was on Jessica X's thing. Yeah, a lot of them chicks don't talk about that, man. The BGS is right. I'm telling you, man. Like between like five, like really 5'2", 5'2", and 5'7" is really the sweet spot. And really it's probably 5'2" and 5'1". I mean 5'2" and 5'6". Exactly. Tall. You talk the countless tall. It ain't no countless tall dudes. When you say tall, what do you mean? Like 5, if you saw 6 foot, man, please, you bullshitting. You straight bullshitting. But supermodels are rare. And supermodels may be aesthetically beautiful, but supermodels are not always don't always have the sexual charisma. Exactly. And he really trying to tell me that. But like these motherfuckers, like y'all be really out here trying to some of the shit y'all be peddling. Y'all be really out here trying to push that shit. Like that shit is the fucking truth. Yeah, be on some bullshit. Oh, so now you trying to move the goalposts, B. Talk about for people that plan their kids. Dudes do not plan for height. That is dudes do not have a biological imperative for that. Like, what are you talking about? Smurgo said tall women. Hey, yeah, tall women have low self-esteem. That's funny. I'm not. This is not about what y'all like and don't like. This is about. I'm talking about the majority of what people go through. Now y'all are individualizing it. Black number one, you don't need to get with a tall chick to have tall kids. That's first of all. So y'all need to kind of get out of that. And second of all, like saying, "Oh man, I want tall kids. I want tall kids." I mean, y'all very worried about having productive kids. Anyway, y'all, I'm about to end this. No, he's not a maggle. Don't do that. Y'all have seen him in his chat more than once. But yeah, man, BGS, you missed the first part of it. The first part of it was me talking shit about people, pro blacks talking about, you know, yeah. Anyway, so I see we're back to the bullshit again with motherfuckers talking about flagging channels and suing people and the bullshit. We're back on that bullshit. So cares somehow cares and goes from, and I'm gonna tell you something. Karen allows her she allows her audience to kind of gas her up way too much. Yeah, what's good? What's good with you, Professor? Shout out to File Out Super Chat. Yeah, she lets her people get like her little people that her little flock or whatever. She really let Obsidian get her pissed off. Yo, I can't believe like you saw I'm quitting YouTube because you can't produce. It's funny, BGS. I know you got just things with Obsidian because what Obsidian said, which I get that. But the funny thing is that's something you've been saying for a minute. You said that she needs to produce her every once in a while she needs to produce her produce like show that she knows that she can actually connect black women with white men and and then when Obsidian said now she want to quit YouTube. Now she want to quit YouTube now. Now she want to talk about flagging people. Now her she got people in the comment section talking about, oh, you're obsessed. Like I saw like 5 comments about, oh, you're obsessed much, obsessed, obsessed, obsessed. I'm like, bitch, she stay in our space more than we deal with her ass. Stop that obsessed shit. Like that shit kills me, man. Oh, are you obsessed? You obsessed? Like, yeah, y'all gotta be more intelligent than that. Are you obsessed? Are you obsessed? Obsessed? No, just like how people are not obsessed with somebody no, you're being covered. You're on a public platform and your ideas are being covered. Are you obsessed? Exactly. She can't. That's what she can't. Men are not so concerned. Number one, most men assume if that their kids are going to be as tall as they are. And no, B, and I'm about to end it after this. Men are not so concerned with height that they're gonna get with a chick that's a 6 over an 8 because that chick will need. No, men are not that concerned. No, they are not. Black men are way more concerned about how a woman's feet looks than how tall she is. Because they assume a woman is gonna be the same, a man is gonna be, their sons are gonna be the same height as them. So I get that that's like a thought that you kind of created in your own brain a little bit, but you got to start separating that from what the reality of the situation is. I haven't seen the Iron in the Soul channel. NBA fan, no, that's not true. Tall kids that playing their tall people that playing their kids care. You never hear that. I'm not saying that they don't care, but they're not sacred. The question is, tell me this, since y'all want to talk that shit. What are these women, these dudes willing to sacrifice for to deal with tall bitches? Because you know good and fucking well you all don't see niggas this 6 foot and up with tall bitches like that. You know good and well you don't see that. Yes, women will do that because height is a biological imperative for them. Yes, yes. Nobody, but nobody said that that wasn't true for women. We said that wasn't true for men. You all are moving the goalpost. Nobody never said y'all are trying to make that what we said all of a sudden. A lot of dudes will get with tall women because a lot of them like yeah. Yeah, for tallness, that's it. That's not what we're talking about. That is not something dudes be looking at like that. Like I said, dudes care more about feet than they care about height. I'm telling you, I wish what y'all was saying was true. That make the market easier for me. Exactly. A chick could be an 8, a certified 8. And if she got ugly feet, that will drop her down to a 6. And in many ways, drop her down to a 5. When a dude sees that, they can't unsee that. And I'm going to keep it real. I got friends that have said, well, if they see a chick wearing socks, they want to see the feet. Dudes will ignore the face before they ignore the feet. Black men. B. That's not what's being said. They don't care to the extent of they want a taller female because a shorter woman does not necessarily produce shorter kids. That's not how that works. So stop trying to connect the two because that's not how that works. Yes, BGS, B is a man. He's been in my chat longer. Oh man, B, you fucking up. You got BGS. You got B. I can't help you if BGS is questioning if you a dude. You know, that's you know, that's one of the four corners of the manosphere, man. I guess you fucking up. You just be a man. Oh god, don't start pounding. Y'all know if y'all been in my chat, B is one of the staples in my chat. So don't do that. Y'all making me get my ass whooped by this bitch. Sonya Blade. Man, that Mortal Kombat movie gonna be garbage. But like I said, BGS, dude, you need God. I'm telling you, man, you really need. What you should start doing is watching TV shows and then doing that on your Patreon, man. I know you don't give a fuck about people going on your Patreon, but that would help. That would actually help build your Patreon, in my opinion. But I'm telling you, BGS, you need to check out that the Expanse, man. That Expanse it's good. Yeah, dude, but again, man, dudes are not doing. I asked you a simple question, B. I asked you, what are dudes willing to sacrifice for that guarantee? And it's like you don't want to answer that question because the answer is they are not willing to sacrifice shit. I don't know that. I don't know, but this will be the first. Like you really like that is not, and that's why and B that's to tell you something. That's why people are asking you, are you a man and are you a black man? Because you are doing stuff that operates with outside of the bounds of what black men typically worry about. And you really don't understand that. And this is what I'm talking about when I say situational awareness. This is what I'm talking about. You niggas be acting like y'all don't be realizing what the fuck y'all be saying. And you keep on changing the argument, man. We all hear your argument. Everybody's saying the same thing. This isn't just you versus me. Everybody's saying that, man. You know, like when everybody's saying something, you should check that out. What time is it? Nobody's saying it's wrong to think of things, NBA fan. I'm not saying what's right or wrong. I'm saying outside of NBA players or basketball people, and even that they're not thinking about. We're telling you what they are doing. I'm not saying what they should do. I'm saying what they are doing. So you all are kind of coming at this in a way that I didn't say. I'm telling you this from a short nigga that's had to compete against taller dudes for short bitches all my life. I'm telling you that these niggas want these bitches. And you trying to tell me that shit ain't true. And I'm telling you, I got friends. Most of my friends are like over 6 feet. And I can tell you right now, that's not who the fuck they fucking with. I can tell you that right now. And I can tell you, feet, there's a lot of things before height. Height is not in the forefront. No, they didn't understand your point. They're reaching too. Yeah, BGS, like, man, that's why I asked you just everybody's been, oh my God. No, that's not what I said. I know you didn't say you were sexually. You said that that's what they prefer. But they don't prefer that so much that that's you would see that in the bitches they fucking with. You really trying to make an argument for black men family planning on some eugenics shit. You know good and well black men ain't doing that shit. You say, what does the statistics say, Smurgo? That's anecdotal evidence. Nigga, look around. Nigga, like, oh my God. Okay. Number one, there is no statistics that's gonna show that. Second of all, dude, are you really gonna charge? This is why I gotta deal with BGS. This is what I gotta deal with. This is why my shit lasts like 2 hours and shit. Yep. Now when BGS is calling y'all lame, you know y'all fucking up. All right, y'all. I appreciate it, but I gotta, it's over. BGS has called y'all lame. Common sense tells you what I'm saying is merit. No. Okay. All right. Well, y'all can continue this debate in the comments section. I'll bring this up somewhere else and see what other people think. Maybe on the next stream we could bring this up with BGS. Anecdotal evidence has its place. No, they not about to give me an aneurysm. I'm about to chill though, man. Like, I mean, this is all I'm doing. I'm in my office room. Anyway. Shout out to LAR Movement. Make sure y'all subscribe to LAR. Shout out to BGS as well, man. Hopefully BGS has a late night stream. We'll see what he's doing. I don't know. I don't want to say do a stream. Somebody else is gonna do a stream. But anyway, with that being said, I appreciate y'all super chats. Appreciate everything. He talking about they ain't got no sense. Yeah. And with that being said, this is Edward signing off. Peace.